All
All
right.
right, so
Well,
moving along, just moving from movies to television for a bit.
yes.
Mr. Robot, season 3.
Yeah, boy. Yeah.
Didn't get to see it,
So,
unfortunately. I feel it bad because I enjoyed the first
right,
season. 2 was kind of but I saw what they tried to
right,
do there.
right,
Kind of like the Matrix reloaded of the
right.
series as far, in my opinion.
Exactly. Right.
But how was season 3?
Um, this was the deflation season, which is a good thing.
All right.
As in, is really the no bullshit season this time.
Okay, would, okay.
In the sense that they really dig deep in terms of what's gonna happen to people. You really get to see the nitty-gritties of how all of this shit just play itself out.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a really strong season thematically in terms of character development. It's the adult season. Elliot's character is now really starting to mature. Everybody's starting to, again, the no bullshit season. So you're really getting to see the mechanics of how all of these nefarious forces play itself out. And most of this is focused and the locus of a lot of this bad guy chicanery is bounded on Bobby Cannavale's character. Bobby Cannavale is in this season, and he kind of really, really owns and eats up the scenery, but it really works. He's
Right.
really good at this season. And yeah, I'll have to say overall, this is probably the strongest season of the three.
Oh, wow, great.
Yeah, really, really liked it. Here's the problem with Mr. Robot for me, right? Because Mr. Robot, I'll admit, is really goddamn derivative. We've seen it before. I call it the proto cyberpunk show because we've seen stuff like Flight Club, we've seen stuff like Blade Runner, we've seen stuff like all of this stuff. I call it from in my review of the first season. I call it the proto cyberpunk. We really starting to live in the world of the cyberpunk stuff with all of this hacking and Bitcoin and technical this and corporatocracies and blah 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 and all these nefarious forces. The Deus Ex reality.
Right.
It's proto Deus Ex, proto Blade Runner. It really starting to feel like what it should feel like in 2017 in terms of people living in poverty for all of these forces they have no control over, and money and financial this market that and war and terror and all this scary stuff of the 21st century. And then what this season does is that, all right, it starts to explain why this shit really happened. And yes, it's still talking about nefarious forces and whatnot, but it really pulls the the CD man behind the curtain with all of this stuff.
Right.
And it does a good job with that. So Billy Wong's character, who was White Rose from season 1,
Mm-hmm.
remember they explain what he did. Remember they explain what he did and what he was revealed to be in the end of the season 1 with the big post-credit scene.
Right.
They follow from that in season 2, and then they follow it from it with the FBI getting involved from season 3. So I forget her name, but she's the main FBI agent. She is it's kind of her story this rounds.
Okay.
She follows all of the shenanigans that Elliot and all the bullshit Elliot going through. They follow Darlene and they follow all of the characters, all the fallout from what happened in season 1 with the big crash.
Mm-hmm.
With that this big financial crash.
Yes.
What they caused with E-Corp losing all these records essentially. They follow that whole investigation, and they follow a lot of the chicanery in season 2, which I'll admit a lot of that I kind of forgot. I didn't decide to watch it over. But they follow all of the chicanery involved with E-Corp, what E-Corp have to deal with what you call E-Coin. So they do good world building in that sense, where you get to see the cryptocurrency of E-Coin take over
Right.
in the background. And then, season 2 was all about the big terrorist plot. The terrorist plot now is Elliot trying to stop the terrorist plot. Right, and then eventually in episode 7 or so, the terrorist plot happens and Elliot couldn't stop it, but it was the Chinese dark army that was introduced from thing, and I'm telling you, that's a plot things they may not understand.
Yeah.
But it flows thematically quite well in terms of how Elliot feels about all of this, and he kind of getting mature. He's saying, well, yeah, I love E-Corp and E-Corp terrible, but it has people worse out there, and I can't really fight them in this way. So the whole thing comes full circle where the ending is them giving back E-Corp the data, because you find out that the data was stored somewhere.
Oh, really? Okay.
Right. And you find out that the Chinese dark army wanted to have access to this thing, and I don't want to sell that out because you find out who involved with all of that.
Right.
Bobby Cannavale is the dirty wet man. He is the dirty wet work guy. I shouldn't say wet man. I should say wet work man.
Right.
Dirty wet work guy about getting his stuff done. Like he's not a tech guy, but he understands the tech guys doing things and giving him instructions, and then he will get it done. And that's his. So the story starts with him following all of this arc and him being just really meticulous about everything. He's really, really conscientious about the world. It doesn't matter if you're living in the digital age or the Bronze Age or the Stone Age. He's the guy that's get the shit done. He's like a universal kind of figure in that way. He's that guy.
Right.
You know, he's that guy who will hire people, fire people. You know, you have no robots yet, so people have to do this shit. You have to hire people to get the shit done anyway.
Right.
Or you're gonna shoot somebody in the head, or you're gonna find somebody in the apartment and clean up evidence and all that thing, and hire and bribe and find out shit about a person to bribe them to get them to do what you want. He's that guy. His whole arc is just being this nasty motherfucker, and they make it work in that arc, Dread. And then they followed I forget the girl name, blonde hair girl.
Oh, that one. The one who always looking sad.
Right, yeah.
Right.
The mopey one.
Yeah, always mopey.
They follow her arc and they do a big reveal with her in the ending. Right? Something really goddamn big, and it's like, oh shit, that real bad. That real dread. And
what about my boy Joey Badass? Is he in this season?
Yeah, right. He have a big scene in the end. It's like, oh wow, who you working for? Because not sure who you working for exactly.
Right.
They thought he was working for one group, and then they find out he did something to square up with that same group. But again, the feeling that is to answer a question. It's to address something between White Rose and somebody else, where you find out who you're working for.
Right.
That was cool. He had a big ending sequence that was a big surprise. Episode 5 is noteworthy because the entire episode is they do a rope take. They do a one take, the fake one take rope take.
Oh, like rope like rope take,
right.
yeah.
Or Birdman or something like that. The whole episode is that. It's really well done.
Right. Even though they cut for breaks though, but I just studied it.
It's a rope take.
Yeah.
It's a rope take. You have a bunch of cuts, but you can't tell. You don't know where it is.
Yeah.
Unless you're really trained to tell that, and I'm not trained enough. I was like, oh, that might be a cut on, that might be a cut. But
no, that's the beauty of it. Now you're trying to figure out where the cut starts from.
And the story is compelling enough, so you don't care. I didn't think about it. I just noticed, oh shit, they're not cutting. I'm like, all right, cool. Yeah, this season was really goddamn strong for me. It was well done. But here's the thing with Mr. Robot. Mr. Robot is a show that only works well in a vacuum. As in, if you have no other real good show going on, our Rel gained it, and a lot of people didn't watch this season. This season had probably some of the worst ratings, if I understand. And very few people talk about it. Nobody watched it.
More people talking about that Walking Dead season finale. Sorry, mid-season finale more than anything.
Yeah. And I think that was a mistake. They put it out in a time where they thought it would get better ratings. If this was in the summer, this would have been like a bigger deal for me. Like if it was the same time where The Leftovers was or something like that.
Yeah.
Then I would have been into it more, but nah, they
would have like Game of Thrones to deal with. Maybe if they put it out after Game of Thrones.
But still, you don't have that much competition because I had way too much noise, too much movies I care about, and I really couldn't get myself to care to really hype this up. And it have so much other things to talk about that I couldn't get myself to hype this up. But the show, it is the best of the seasons.
Right.
It is the best season. It's really good. Decent cinematography. They do some great reveals involving Elliot, involving him and his relationship to Mr. Robot. His relationship with Mr. Robot is evolving in very interesting and fascinating ways.
All right.
And they're doing some cool stuff with where the where F Society went with that. That whole revolve was really tragic, really goddamn tragic what they do with that. And they revolve it, but they everything come in full circle with everything. And Elliot basically is the final battle now. Hopefully with fourth season. The final battle. I hope the fourth season, the end, they should wrap it up now. It's the final battle with the bad guys, and everything is they're leading into Donald Trump because they make another nice and great political references because in this story it's basically late 2015. So election ramping up now.
Yeah, I always forgot the time period of that show. And I always thought it was modern, contemporary times now.
No. But they do a good job with the whole storytelling and where they went with that. And yeah, this was great. I enjoy everything about this season. I didn't love it, but it's only because it has so much other shit to talk about now.
Yeah, I hear.
Yeah.
All right. So what would you rate it then?
Rated? Yeah, give it pretty high. I give it an 8 out of 10.
Okay, sweet. I definitely will give this one a look. Yeah.
Yeah, solid business. Yeah, I do recommend it, but sadly, it has so much other shit to look at. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, so last but not least, we have to talk about a movie that surprisingly, at least for me, has been dividing the critics and fans. The funny thing is, the more I think about it, and I guess because I haven't seen it a second time, but I really do want to. Of course, we're talking about Star Wars: The Last Jedi. I have a feeling maybe not with the second view, but maybe with subsequent views, not like in a short space of time, but like over the years, I may not like it as much as all that, but I would say it's probably one of my favorite Star Wars movies. Like period.
I get the feelings. I get the feeling the complete opposite. Now, basically, to put this in succinctly, this is basically Iron Man 3 all over again.
It is.
That's pretty much what it felt like. While I was thinking about it, because at first my early take was, well, it's like Man of Steel, and it it's controversial in this way and that way. No, it's more like thing. It's more like Iron Man 3 in the sense that, all the big twist and reveal is very deflationary. A lot of the deflationary stuff.
Yeah.
It's like you're hyped up for this big thing, and then nope, it's this simple thing. Hey, what's the answer to that? No, it's just this. Sorry.
Yeah.
But it works.
But yeah, but that's the thing. I really do praise the film for that. But before we jump into that, exactly. So we're gonna try our best not to spoil too much stuff. We may include a spoiler too, but to get into spoilers right now is gonna take
be as spoiler free as we can. I read too long. We could probably talk about if we want to talk about full spoilers and big discussion and big details and depth, it'll take real long.
Yeah, and there's lots of videos right now on YouTube, spoiler videos that like clock it in like 20 minutes and stuff, because yes, there's so much to really talk about with this film, especially stuff that work and don't quite work as all that. But anyway, so the story of The Last Jedi, of course, this follows right after the events of The Force Awakens from 2015. So basically, where that story left off, we had Rey, who's played once again by Daisy Ridley, and she goes to this island planet to where she finds Luke Skywalker, and she wants to be trained by him. She wants to learn more about the Force because she was introduced to the Force by the bad guy Kylo Ren, who's played once again by Adam Driver. And with that, just touching on that subplot for a minute here, Luke, he's that bright-eyed, great warrior from the old trilogy. Now he's worn, he's old, he's cynical. He just doesn't want to be involved in the war against the Resistance and the First Order. He wants to be away from that as much as possible. So basically he's just living in seclusion there, and then now he runs into Rey, who, and if you remember from the last film, there's this implication that she may be Luke's daughter, but I wouldn't really say what happens there. You have to see for yourself.
Right, no, yeah, right. So that's the thing with that. Remember when I said in the review for Ready Player One, well, in the trailer.
Yeah, the second trailer, right?
Right. Remember I said how franchise getting a little too cancerous and too big and won't die. And I mentioned Batman and Spider-Man, but I should have mentioned Star Wars. But holy shit, Star Wars itself, congratulations, Star Wars, you played yourself. And there's not a bad or insult in that case. It's like, they actually detonate their own mythology and mythos.
Yeah.
By mixing things up in a really, really fascinated way.
Yeah, fascinated, I would say. Whether you like these changes or not is up to you. But that's me getting into reviews.
They work for me.
Yeah. Right. So apart from all that, we have like a few subplots here. So the second one involves Poe Dameron, who's played once again by Oscar Isaac. He's still with the Resistance. Carrie Fisher, of course, General Leia. She's his superior now. And basically they're being hunted down by the First Order. The First Order attacking down the ships. So he kind of hatched up this scheme to kind of help them avoid them there. But that's gonna go against General Leia's rules and all that kind of stuff. It's gonna go beyond that. Which leads into another subplot. And this is the one that I for the moment I saw it, I know that it will, and it actually did, divide a lot of fans with this one. This is like probably the subplot that viewers were kind of skeptical about, were kind of iffy about, and that involves Finn, who's played once again by John Boyega. He runs into a character named Rose, a new character. She's played by Kelly Marie Tran. She is a mechanic actually. Well, she works in maintenance actually. And it's revealed in the beginning that her sister died during this attack in the beginning of the film. So she kind of owes it to her sister now to kind of help the Resistance fight the First Order. So through some circumstances, she kind of tags along with Finn. And the plan basically is to go to a particular planet and look for a code breaker, an actual character, a code breaker character, and it's revealed that it's none other than Benicio del Toro, who, believe it or not, I didn't even know was in this show to begin with. So there's that subplot going on, and then finally there is the subplot involving Kylo Ren himself. Once again, under the tutelage of Supreme Leader Snoke, who is played by Andy Serkis. So Serkis knows that that Kylo has lineage with Darth Vader. He's trying to get him to embrace the dark side. I mean, he done kind of had him kill his father, aka Han Solo, in the last film. And that's still affecting Kylo, internally. But at the same time, he just kind of does not want to really fully embrace that. So there's this conflict with his character as well. And then it gets even more interesting now when he, through the Force, starts his, is involved in this connection with Rey. So they are aware of each other's presence. They can speak to each other even though they're in different locations. And it's these two characters now and their position basically in the war against light and dark involving the Force, and that's all I'll say in terms of plot. So well, all right. So what were your thoughts on this movie here, on The Last Jedi?
I personally loved it. Personally, I really like this film. A lot of it works for me already. Okay, so I thought it subverted the material. It's actually really subversive to what Star Wars, but in all the right ways.
Yes.
And what it does, it kind of goes out of its way. I won't go and say, I won't think it's a conspiracy or think it's a few to fans who like to fan theory. They sell fan theory. But what it does, it detonates a lot of that. It detonates a lot of legacy stuff. It detonates a lot of lore in the best ways, and it really subverts the material in some smart and interesting ways. It's not veering off too much. Nothing it does, I noticed nothing it does is like this was impossible or that's impossible or anything like that. There were a few moments that was like, okay, maybe.
Yeah.
But, well, here's the thing. One of the big crimes of the Disney taking over Star Wars was ignoring the EU and then kind of more or less stealing from the EU.
Right.
So a lot of people was like, well, they're from the EU anyway, so we don't really mind. But it's still from the EU now.
Mm-hmm.
The movie had a handful of structural issues for me, but most of the bad, quote unquote, served a purpose on some level. Like what you call bad or what you thought didn't have a point, because again, we're going to talk about the subplot with Finn and Rose. That actually has a really important purpose. That serves a purpose.
Yeah, it does.
And it actually is related more to Poe rather than them, if you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of Poe's arc, I think is very important. I like what they did with Laura Dern's character.
Yes. She's another superior within the resistance, by the way.
Yeah, and they make it work. They make all of that whole thing work with him being a failure. He was demoted, and then he acting as if, well, you need to talk to me and tell me your plan. It was like, no, motherfucker, you're demoted. And then they validate her because the way how they frame everything as if, she's some ineffectual, weak leader now.
Mm-hmm.
And totally validated her in the end, and it's great what they did.
Yeah.
The movie also justified a double. The movie didn't really visually put this forward, but it did do it in the working context of sacrifice. What sacrifices are necessary and what sacrifices are not necessary.
Yes.
They do that perfectly and well. They have something involving a big sacrifice with one character, and then they cancel the sacrifice of another character, showing that his sacrifice is not important, but the other character's sacrifice is important.
Yeah. In the grand scheme of things, yeah.
Exactly, and it's how to balance and how to look at these ideas now.
Mm.
And then let's just talk about straight up the real strength of the film. Why the movie gets a very high score for me. Cinematography. This movie has some visually. I mean, it's probably one of the more visually ambitious movies I've seen in a goddamn long time.
Yeah. One of the best looking Star Wars movies ever, literally.
Yeah, for me, easily. Like Rogue One had some great shots in it. Rogue One had some shots. Like, it had some great shots in Rogue One.
Yeah,
but
and Force Awakens had its moments.
Oh, yeah.
Had its moments.
Listen, I'm not talking it, Force Awakens had great shots. Rogue One had great shots. Earlier this year, Planet of the Apes had some great shots. But some really smart shots, Judd.
Yes.
Like, just choices. And it was a total, like, it had some Japanese influence. Like, we know Star Wars always had, Jedi Geki, Japanese influence stuff in it, right? But this had some real anime moments in it, Dread.
Yeah, like,
Like some,
there's one particular interior shot. Well, just the interior shots
Right.
involving a particular character that looks straight out of like a 70s samurai flick, or
Yeah,
like
yeah.
some 90s samurai anime or something like that. It looks
Yeah,
really
yeah.
great.
Yeah, that was great. They have a shot with there's a shot where they show from multiple angles, but it's the same event.
Yes. Oh my
Total
god,
animation.
that was
So
brilliant.
that it is the highlight of the movie. That was really goddamn amazing, and I can't believe that they didn't do this before
Yeah.
in the Star Wars world. Now they had to explain that though. Like it have a couple law things. Like, all right, I get that you're breaking up the law, but you still have to, like, how come nobody do that before?
hmm
But it's like a big thing. And then
Like, how come nobody thought about it then?
yeah,
Back
yeah,
then,
you would have
yeah.
think somebody would have been doing that right through, right? And then a couple other things is the whole reveals of some reveals, some character reveals. Like, all right, I get that, but why does he do it this way? And well, that'll undermine a couple other things from before, well, involving Kylo Ren in particular
Yeah.
and his hierarchy. Let's just say that. That I would say, well, how come you don't address this well? But again, precedent is there, because if you want to play that, you can say the Emperor and other characters, not a big deal. I cannot think I spoiled something there, right? That is about it. This movie was great. I
Yeah.
really, really like this movie. A lot of it works. Some of it, I'll admit, have a couple other playoffs, but it really, really looked great. By the way, they have a straight up Kagebunshin no Jutsu moment in this movie, which
Oh
is
boy.
awesome.
Yeah.
But that was a great moment as well. And yeah, it was great. I just really like this movie. I had a big fun. A lot of fun.
Right.
Pretty
Okay.
goddamn awesome.
Cool. Well, I agree with you for the most part. I really love this movie as well. I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I did. The one thing the main reason for me why I really enjoy this film is just the risks that Rian Johnson, who wrote and directed the film, by the way, took with this with this movie. Just when you think, because you've been so saturated with Star Wars over the past since episode 1, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And because of the whole hype with, oh well, is this gonna be another Empire Strikes Back? So you're gonna go into this thing expecting one thing to happen, but then it just kind of switches up and be like, no, this is what's gonna happen instead. You might like it, you might like all the changes that we're gonna make, but they work, or they're gonna make sense eventually to you. I felt that the majority of twists and turns that they did here worked, and I just love how it just kept me going, just kept me like on my seat now, on my toes literally, looking out to see what kind of twist they're gonna do here, right down to the very end too. And the final shot is so amazing, so inspirational. I don't want to spoil anything else beyond that, but it just adds so much to the legacy of Star Wars. And to me, this is like the biggest theme of the movie, legacy, is where do all of these new characters go. Seeing that we have these veteran characters like Carrie Fisher, who, by the way, this is the final performance of a final on-screen performance, and just knowing that when you see her on screen though is just is enough to make you make it tear up as well.
They even subvert those expectations.
Yes,
because when you saw a scene, and I was like, oh, okay, that is it then.
Yeah, that's it. And then something else happens, and you're like,
and like, all right,
oh
well,
my
what?
god,
And
they do that.
You don't have a meme with a white guy who just be like, just shocked at what you see. That was me throughout the entire movie. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
like that was me too. Like when you sat down together, it's like,
right.
oh, they're doing this. Okay.
Yeah, all
right.
And
what?
Yeah, and then the central message of it involving, especially with Luke and his arc, I thought that was great.
Yeah.
That whole arc involving, but as I say, the analogy is no lords, no masters, no.
Yeah.
They kind of undermine they kind of come full circle undermining the central premise of what people think Star Wars should be, and it especially focusing on big bad guy leaders, involving Rey and her origins, and involving going back to the prequels. It kind of invalidates a lot of that stuff, but in a good way.
Yeah, it does.
You kind of see why the ancient Jedi wisdom was the way it was, involving Anakin as a character now. And that works quite well. And then they do there's another big WTF moment involving a character from the previous trilogies, right?
Yeah.
And it's all about breaking up and shaking up a lot of that stuff now.
Exactly, yeah. And to me though, like, I think it works perfectly in terms of you know, just where this franchise needs to go now. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
right from the moment when Force Awakens came out, I mean, we talked about it 2 years ago with Claude when we did our long 3.5 hour review of it. I'm gonna put the link to it below here, by the way.
Yeah.
You know, we did complain about it being, you know,
Similar.
well, nostalgia bait there, basically. Just
Right.
them
Yeah,
playing it
mapping,
safe, you know, that kind of stuff. And then, well, I actually watched over Force Awakens before watching Last Jedi, like on the same day actually, before I met up with you. And yes, it does play within the whole nostalgia card. Not as much as all that though. It you know, like when you look at it, it's like, well, there is a real story being told here. This is not.
Right.
You know, A New Hope being retold again. There is some effort being made to tell some new coherent story. You know, whether it's characters or locations or whatnot. But because you're familiar with because it's a new start there. You know what I mean? You kind of expect, well, okay, well, you're gonna get the same beat for beat again and again. I love here with this movie here, The Last Jedi, where they know you're gonna expect these beats, you know, but they just always flip it. They always do some kind of tweak.
As I say, they subvert the material really intelligently. I think.
And you're right though. It's not to kind of throw away the law and be like, well, you know, this law doesn't exist, or it's obsolete or ancient. It's more like an advancement. Like this is how it's supposed to grow and evolve and develop basically.
Because Luke's character in particular, I think, had the best arc.
Yes. He did. He had the best arc in this whole show. Yeah,
in terms of what you're supposed to do with the material. And well, if I understand, he didn't like what they did with it. He was like complaining to the director and didn't like the direction. But to me, it served the strength of the film. That it because when I think about it, it was because all the bad shit was because of the law stuff, because of the legacy stuff. That's the problem.
Right.
You know, that's the root of the problem. Trying to appeal to kind of quote unquote natural power or innate strength or some bullshit like that.
Yeah.
That stuff, when you think about it, is kind of insidious and bullshitty and malevolent. When you think, and it does become malevolent.
Mm-hmm.
But to follow up from it and say, well, no, it's only this one person is like that, and that was an accident or that's a one-off. Nope. The whole mindset is a problem, and the movie goes out of its way to address that really well.
Yeah. And the thing is, they were touching on it with the last trilogy actually. The way how, well, essentially, you know, this Jedi Order, you know, that's supposed to be so rigid and in structure, and then it kind of gave birth to Darth Vader, you know.
Right. Exactly.
So out of that,
they went back even further. They went back even further with that, because if you say, you can understand why it is the Jedi Order form in the way it is and why they shouldn't have children.
Yes.
Because that's the whole idea. That's where the real Force come from, where very strong people aren't picked because of genetic lineage, even though it can be a product of genetic lineage. You think about it, right?
Yeah.
That is why Anakin shouldn't have kids, and the reason why all of this shit started is because he wanted to have kids. That was the problem.
Exactly. That was that was like the major emotional core for him in the third one.
Exactly.
He wanted kids.
A lot of this. And so the movie resets itself in that interesting way. It's like, all right, this is the real way to restart. If you want to start back the quote unquote Jedi Order, this is the real proper way to do it. And the idea of the Skywalker legacy, a lot of people complain about the Skywalker legacy. I know this movie, the shit on the Skywalker legacy. Well, yeah, that's kind of the whole point. It's not supposed to have a Skywalker legacy.
Yeah, like it's done. You know what I mean? Like this
it wasn't supposed to exist in the first place. Skywalker legacy was the result of bad actions, right?
Yeah.
Even though you like these characters after the fact, they're not supposed to exist.
Yeah.
They were the cause of all of this strife and suffering.
Right, and you can understand why he's so disillusioned by it in the first place.
I really like that.
So I thought it worked well with his character. And by the way, Mark Hamill gives one of the best performances like ever, in my opinion. Although, like, I always associate with it as two characters, Luke Skywalker and Joker, of course. But this is like the best portrayal of Luke Skywalker I've seen on screen. It works in terms of like, well, this is how the character would be like 30 years later or whatever it is. It makes perfect sense. He's not going to be that bright-eyed, boyish character anymore. Of course, he's going to be old and jaded. I get that. And what they do with this character, like, even up to the very end, that's all I'll say.
Yeah.
Was just brilliant. Same thing I could say with Carrie Fisher's character as well too. How her character developed after, of course, the death of her husband, Han Solo, you know, and just the moments with her on screen, you know, and just when you think, well, it's gonna go this way because, well, you know, Carrie Fisher in real life dead,
Right.
No, they actually do.
Yeah.
They actually give her
Well,
just enough screen
I can
time for
see
you to
people
really be like,
complaining
yeah.
about that moment.
Oh,
But
that
it-
moment
it took-
though, I would say
it
it
took-
caught me completely off guard. I was like, well,
Right.
what? Okay, we're doing this.
Yeah.
But then when you
But
think
it
about it,
was-
because of who she is, who she's
Right.
related to, it kind of makes sense though.
and plus it's 30 years past. It's like whatever. I don't really mind what they do with that.
Yeah. Now, one thing though, I thought that she would have been had a bigger role to play in the whole Kylo Ren Snoke thing, but I'm glad that they
Right.
just kind of left her
Right.
to deal with the
Me too.
first order stuff. Yeah.
No, right. So they did a great arc with Rey and Kylo Ren's arc. I thought really was strong.
Yes, it was.
what did they
And
do
it was
that
very
time? Like-
unexpected to me because I thought it was
Right,
going
and
to
then-
go one
then-
way, but then once again, twists
Yeah.
and turns and how
Yeah.
it ends
And
logically was
Kylo's
like,
arc
wow.
now. Kylo's arc I liked, where you're thinking, oh well, you try to deny agency to Ren, and in a sense, in a sense, Luke was oh god, we're spoiling shit now, but in a sense, certain characters in relation to Ren wasn't entirely wrong.
Yeah.
And it wasn't entirely wrong. But they were right for the wrong reasons. And
Yeah.
then when it's revealed, you realize, oh shit, that is a problem still do.
Yeah.
And because
exactly.
of the idea of legacies, not because of this guy, they need a straight up villain to point to. No, it's because of the mindset and how you think about your nature and your relation to the Force. I love how the movie did that.
Yeah.
That was great. Kind
Yeah.
of brilliant.
Yeah. I love those arcs though.
We can't really say much more without spoilers. So let's
Yeah,
just try
well,
to
but
get through.
there's a couple things I'll say before I get to rating, right?
Yeah.
The one story arc or subplot that is gonna divide a lot of fans
Right.
is, of course, the one with Finn and
Finn and Rose, right?
and Rose. Reason being is because the setup for it was a little sloppy, a little heavy-handed. It felt like, okay, we just needed these guys to go on an adventure, and it could have just been Finn doing Finn stuff, but we had to throw in this
Right.
new character. Nothing wrong with that. Although, one of the video reviews I saw on YouTube, apparently during the Comic-Con interview that they had with J.J. Abrams when the first film came out, when Force Awakens came out,
Right.
this Asian American girl had asked, when are we going to see Asian characters in the film? So I don't know if that's the reason why they have Rose's characters, possibly, I don't know. And I was worried that she was going to be like this annoying character they just tacked on, but I felt that
Right.
she worked here. I felt that she did her best with what she's given. There's a moment when the mission starts, like somewhere there when you're actually looking for the person, where it kind of like it feels the film actually stops and it just becomes like its own side
Right.
adventure.
Okay.
It always
So
kind of takes you out of it.
here's my issue with that. I don't want to spoil too much of that, but
Yeah.
basically it's their version of the hive of scum and villainy.
Yeah.
So they say, okay.
Yeah.
this
Well,
is
that's
the
one
hive
thing.
of
I
scum and
like how they
villainy.
tied it back to
Right.
the story, the message of the story, or
Right.
one of the messages
And
of
then
the
they
story.
focus on a large overarching message involved in this. And then when all is said and done, especially with respect to Poe's character and what you thought the story is gonna be, they come back and say, no, they subvert that and pull the rug from underneath with that.
Yeah.
And then
yeah.
they say, okay, that whole section now, its real purpose, when they show the final shot, its real purpose, it's like, okay, this is the real purpose and what Luke was saying involved in
Yes.
the whole
Yes.
idea
Yes.
of the Force.
Yeah.
And
And that's what I loved about it. I loved how,
Basically,
even though it kind of, you wasn't really sure where it was going, it still came back to what the point was. It still kind of made sense in the grand scheme of things. I loved how they
Right.
brought it back. Even though, like I
Because
say,
it's
somewhere
a-
in the beginning it was just a little rough, but they brought it back.
Yeah.
I love how they brought it back, and rather unexpectedly too. I must say, I didn't know
exactly.
it's going
And
to go there.
It's a big Force works in mysterious ways kind of moment. And it's all of that
Yes,
shit
yes.
Luke was talking about. You
Yeah.
could say that they don't link up on anything like that, but no, that to me was the central message in the movie.
Yeah.
Now we can argue again the logistics of it of, well, how come this is this and here come this is that? But no, it worked in terms of like what the nature of this is you got to get people to care. It's about getting people like when they make the call and nobody answer. But then when push come to shove, you go see people actually caring in the long run, and this is the real fight.
Yeah.
And that was about it.
Right. Couple more things before we get to it. Don't worry, we almost done. From a technical perspective, sorry. I thought that Rian Johnson did an excellent job directing this. I'm not the biggest fan of him, but I know that when it comes to writing, directing, Rian is the shit. I mean, look at his episodes of Breaking Bad. Ozymandias last season, best episode of Breaking Bad, period. He helmed that. and go into this thing is like, well, I know he's gonna bring his A game here. I thought that he did that excellently. I love what he did in terms of the story. Always pulling the rug from under your feet and one that always keeping you on your toes. That's what I love. It didn't feel like worn down. It didn't feel like, oh well, yeah, of course I know what's gonna happen next. Even if you think it's always gonna come with some kind of twist. I love that. The acting was solid across the board, and there were a couple of characters that do show up, that do return, I should say, that I didn't expect. A couple of them I felt they could have had a little bit more screen time, a little bit more purpose. That's all I would say. But when they're there, they do own it. The new characters, the characters that we know from Force Awakens, the actors themselves, Oscar Isaac, Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, they all kill it. The veteran actors, Carrie Fisher, she was excellent in this. But for me though, the one who really sold it to me the most though was Mark Hamill. His arc made the most sense to me. The way how it starts, the way how it ends though, was just so incredible for me. Cinematography, like I said, this is a gorgeous looking movie, probably one of the most gorgeous looking films I've seen all year. And in the whole Star Wars series as a whole, the music by John Williams, I thought was a vast step up from the one that he did for Force Awakens. It's much more organic. It does feel more purposeful, instead of, oh well, we're just gonna play this music because remember this from the old film. It didn't feel like that, although there were some callbacks to the old films, but they were appropriate for the the moments that they were used. I would say it's not a perfect film though. Oh yes, I forgot to mention too, this is the longest film in the series thus far. It's actually longer than episode 2, which is seen a lot. This clocks in at about 2.5 hours, but believe me, the time flies by so fast, and you will have a blast watching this. It's not a perfect movie by a long shot though. Like, while we praising the fact that it did subvert a lot of things, I know that there are a lot of fans out there that don't like that. They don't like the decisions that they make with those subversions, whether it's subtle things, whether it's little character interactions, whether it's things they do with characters, how characters are introduced or how they go away or whatever it is. Even, which is funny too, even like right now on IMDb, like I'm looking at it right now, and there's like lots of negative views for this movie, like so much, and it's just really amazing too. Like right now, it's not even in the top 250 list yet. You know what I mean? So that's kind of weird. I didn't expect that people would have really hated on the movie that much.
No, I was quite surprised at that as well. Because I know people would have I know it have a kind of a backlash, but I didn't expect it to have such a big backlash.
Yeah. So this is one of those shows that could fall into overrated, or it was hyped up, so that's why people love it. Or it might fall into, well, no, you're not supposed to do that. Why they change up all that stuff for? They don't care about the franchise, blah. You know what I mean?
Iron Man 3 all over again.
Yeah, Iron Man 3 all over again. And, I actually like Iron Man 3 for what it did. I don't think it holds up as much as it does, but I love the risk that they took here. And, you have to do that now. You can't just be giving us, and especially with the whole fact that Disney now owns Lucasfilm, and, they're doing these movies every year now, which still pisses me off. I still don't like the fact that we have a Star Wars movie every year. I really hate that, but, whatever. But, at some point in time, you do have to do new things, and I'm glad that Ryan actually took the risk to do that. A majority of these changes work. I know there's a couple of them that I'll look at in the long run and be like, that kind of don't really make any sense, but still though, I have to give credit where credit is due, with the risk that it took, and I think that it paid off immensely though. And in my opinion though, this is one of the best Star Wars movies out there, in my opinion, in terms of the Disney/Lucasfilm Star Wars films. This is easily the best one thus far. I can't wait to see what they do in the 2019 with the follow-up to this. Still not too excited with the Han Solo one, but maybe I just need to see a trailer for me to be excited. By the moment though, guys, this is the best Disney/Lucasfilm Star Wars movie out there, and I would say one of the best that we've seen in the series, period. And this is one that I can't wait to see again. And believe me, when you do see it, hopefully you will want to see this again, as soon as the credits roll up. So for me, this gets a very light 4.5 out of 5 stars. This is one of the best movies of the year. This is going to be in my top 5. I was thinking about it, but I was
it's quite possible.
I think it deserves to be in the top 5. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, if you are a Star Wars fan, you're gonna love this. Don't go with the expectations too high. I imagine if you do, you're going to be disappointed by it. But just go in knowing that you're going to be entertained by you know, in all directions, whether it's the music, whether it's the script, the way how unpredictable it is, or the character arcs. I think this is the strongest thing about the movie, the character arcs and where they lead. They don't go where you expect them to go, but where they end, to me, I felt was logical. It felt like the most logical way in terms of the story being told, where these characters end up, to me. So yeah, this is one of the best movies I've seen thus far. I'm glad I got to see it in IMAX. Thank you, IMAX, for giving me this for this experience, because I mean, I still regretting the fact that I saw Transformers there, the fifth one, but I'm glad that at least I got to see this experience big and bold in IMAX, and I'd actually encourage you guys to check it out there. If not, if you could see it on a small screen or whatever, go see it there, but please don't wait till it come out on torrent. They'll be like, yeah boy, you're watching it on my laptop. No. Go see it on the big screen as soon as you can. You're gonna love it. In one way or another, you're gonna enjoy it. Right. So, Ricardo, what is your rating for The Last
Jedi? I will give this a solid IMAX.
Word. That we're talking about.
IMAX. Pretty damn awesome.
Yes.
Loved it.
Go see it in IMAX, like I said. Go see it in IMAX. If you can't see it on a big screen, please don't wait till it come out on torrent. Please.
No. You gotta see this.
You have to see it. You have to hear it. You have to experience it.
Them visuals alone, just like god damn.
God damn. All right. So, Ricardo, where can we find you online, man?
You could find me Passat Armedy at Armedy, Passat Armedy on Twitter, at RMEDDY on Twitter. And then you can just type in Ricardo Medina on Facebook, and I'm like the 666 version of him. So you can find me there.
Alright, cool. Well, you could also find me on Twitter. Just look for my handle, Legally Black MJB, MJB and capital letters. You could also find me on Facebook. Just look for my name, Machibili, along with a Legally Black blog official fan base, where you find the link to this podcast as well as the others that we've done before, and of course my written reviews. And as I said before, if you check out the description below, and you will see the epic Star Wars special that Ricardo and I did 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And in addition, I'm also going to put the link to the podcast that we did where we talked about Rogue One as well. So just stuff that we talked about with Star Wars during our run here with BS Beats and Bailey. You'll find the links to below.
Right.
All right. So stuff to look forward to. Well, cinema-wise, not really anything much. But oddly enough, this show actually gained some pretty good reviews. And I'm actually shocked about this. Jumanji, boy.
Okay.
Yeah, Jumanji has like a 68% right now on is it 86? I think it is on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm like, really?
Okay.
The show actually that good? Okay.
Yeah,
I don't know if I'll get to see it, to be honest. But one thing you can look forward to, guys, is our year-end special where we're gonna run through our favorite and least favorite movies of the year. In my case, I'm gonna talk about favorite hip-hop albums, EPs, and instrumental albums. Yeah. And of course, you'll mention TV shows that we enjoyed, and in your case, video games.
Maybe I didn't play that many video games this year.
Oh, really?
I only played like 2 or 3.
Okay.
Like new games. See, I haven't played that many, to tell you the truth.
Right.
I don't really had that time when I was editing and
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. Right, so you can look out for that special. Well, we'll split it up, of course, so we don't want it to try and digest this 3.5 hour story of us talking about movies and all that kind of stuff. We're gonna break it up so it'll be easier to digest and whatnot. So you can look out for that after Christmas. And then the subject of Christmas, yes, folks, almost time for Christmas. So, if you guys manage to check this out before Christmas, just wishing you guys, just a happy and safe Christmas. Don't drink and drive. If you had a drink it at home, or, drink it by your friends or whatnot. But don't be going behind the wheel and that, because we already had enough of these car accidents for no reason, all that kind of shit, right? So, any closing words? Any Christmas shout-outs or anything?
Just normal Merry Christmas, normal stuff. Happy holidays to everybody.
Alright, so that's pretty much about it. So once again, guys, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whenever you are listening to this. This was Matthew Bailey and
Ricardo Medina.
And we are signing off from another episode of Bears, Beats and Bailey. So until the next one, take care.
Yeah,
peace.
And see you around, kid.
Yes, see you around, kid. Alright, guys, take care. Later.
Don't stop.